Welcome to our webinar today on why and how studying economics can help you build a rewarding career. I would like to let you know that we have an esteemed team of panelists who are here to exclusively answer your questions regarding this topic. And I also want to let you know that we are currently at MIT WPU. We are accepting all student applications for our revered economics degree. So I urge all of you to go to admissions.mitwpu.edu.in and select the program of your choice and kindly send in your admission applications. I hope all of you are staying safe. These are uncertain times, but we are here to bring to you assurance and a lot of relevant information on our topic today. So let's get right into it. Dr. Haridas will be joining us today with her presentation on why and how studying economics can help you build a rewarding career. Over to you, ma'am.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Dr. Shaileshri Haridas. I'm the Dean for, give me a second to share this screen. Yeah, welcome you all for this webinar where we'll be talking about how economics as a subject will give you the rewarding career. This is Dr. Shaileshri Haridas. I'm an alumni of IIM Calcutta, and I have studied economics from 1991, and I head the program. I'm the Dean for Economics at MIT World Peace University, the only university where we talk about the science as well as spirituality. Both should come together for changing the personality of any child. So that's what is our mission as such. So as far as the time as of now is considered, these are the difficult times and we all are staying at home. I suppose you all are also staying safe at home, but even though we are staying at home, we are really worried about what will happen to us tomorrow. So what will happen after this particular year? So many of you, those are in your 12th standard, you must be thinking that where to go for the admissions, what to study and all. And this is the time you are standing at the threshold of your own career, your life. You need to choose something, and whatever you choose at this particular point of time will determine what you will do in your life in the future or what you will be in the future. So whatever you opt for engineering today or medicine today or economics today or law today or commerce education today, whatever is the subject you choose, you will live with that subject till the end of your life. So you have to be very, very cautious. You have to be very, very careful for choosing a particular subject as such. See, nowadays the corporate requires more of knowledge, conceptual knowledge, as well as the application of that. So when once we are talking about the corporate requirement, we always say that economics is a subject. This is the mother of all subjects. You talk about management, you talk about commerce, you talk about any other subject. Economics is a subject which finds out the trouble in any of the areas. I mean, any of the areas, again, policy issues are there, money, banking, trade is there. So all these are there. So let's spend some time on what will happen to you if you study economics, how your career will be there in economics further as such. So many of you know the word economics. I'm sure we all have heard economics, but whatever you have studied in your secondary education or even in your 11th and 12th, that is not actually the complete part of economics which you have studied as such. I'm an economist by profession. I have studied 42 different subjects in economics. But whatever you have studied in your 8th, ninth, or even till 12th, it's not even 1% of what actually economics is. It's such a vast subject. And whichever may be the part of corporate you go, or in each and every walk of your life, you find this fantastic subject economics. Maybe you have heard all these words which are finding on the screen here. You have heard about money. You are keeping the currency in your pocket. That itself is economics. You go to the bank, you know that banking transactions are a part of economics. All the decision which we take in bank, or all the decision how many currency to be printed, is again economics. RBI governor has to decide how many currency notes to be printed. You all know the basics of this. but still we don't realize that this is the subject economics, which is a part of my day-to-day life. You talk about trade, international trade, exports and imports. You talk about the policy development, any policies, even if, say, for example, now because of this, problems which is happening due to the virus and all, there is loss of economic activity, so loss of economic output. So when once the lockdown is extended today for till 7 more days or 10 more days or till 5th of May, 4th of May, we need to make the complete document ready. Modi ji has to have, the honorable prime minister has to have the complete document ready, saying that what will be the loss of output versus what is the, how many lives we are going to save. So all these are the decisions which uses the economics in as the root cause of all these decision making. You talk about the NGOs, again RBI always already spoke about that, the corporate decision making, which is very, very important. Ladies and gentlemen, you all have cell phone in your hand possibly, or you are sitting in front of the laptop, say for example. So if you are the owner of that particular company, you need to decide about what should be the price of that particular cell phone before selling it in the market, or you have to decide about what is the price of this particular laptop before you sell it in the market. So who will decide, who will take about this pricing decision, or who will take the decision about how many laptops I need to produce, or how many cell phones I need to produce, where should I locate the production unit? So who will decide about all these important decisions of the companies? We call this as the strategies, and these are all economics behind these strategies. You will be learning all these things with us if you do economics in MIT World Peace University as such. Now you need to forecast what is going to happen is demand forecasting. I spoke about the pricing. So again, finance, say for example, now Ratan Tata ji, he has given 500 crores, 1,500 crores. These are all we read in media. So how do he decide 500 crores, 1,500 crores? If the moment that much of money goes to PMO fund, what will be the impact on the company? So there are a lot of decisions which we always take based on economics as such. You read a lot of articles in the newspapers, any newspaper, it may be Economic Times, it may be Times of India, or it may be your local newspaper. You find a lot of news related to all the areas which I spoke. You switch on the television, you always find, you see Economic Times now, ET now is one of the channel, or CNBC, you have BBC. So all these are the areas you find economists associated in those television channels also. Or you have to have your own entrepreneurship. If you are thinking about having your own business too, this is subject definitely helps you to do that. One more area where many students, those who would like to do UPSC or MPS, you are aspiring to be the IAS officers of the nation, bureaucrats in the future, then always the people take economics as one of the subject. Usually economics has come direct connect with the policy making, and those are the people, those are more preferred. They crack examination also at a easy level. So more or less, this is what is economics, which helps to create wealth in the society, and which is for you also, and the welfare. That's what we always talk about, wealth as well as the welfare. So entire wealth and welfare combination is created with the help of subject economics as such. I was mentioning different sectors. See, you have see all these people in the newspaper. You can see my cursor too on the screen here. Madam Nirmala Sitharaman, you know her background as such, finance minister with the background. You have heard enough about Dr. Partha Rai, famous professor of economics, who is with IIM Ahmedabad now. So you have the career as in education too. You have chief economist of HSBC. All these people are young enough to make the career as such. We have enough people, those who make the career. I don't have to take the name. You have the names on your screen as such. So especially, this is foreign exchange dealers. You have heard about what is the dollar price, what is the pound price, what is the euro price, why the economies are doing like this. You feel one fine day people used to think earlier saying that US is one of the best in the country, one of the best country in the world. But now we feel that no, that may not be the best in the world. Possibly India will be the best in the world, or China will be the best in the world. So who are the people behind it? Who will be making all these comments? All these are the comments made by the economists. So we have our life in the corporate, we have our life in the policy making, we also have our life in the media, economics, journalism. That's something. Economics is the backbone for all those things. Data analysis or big data analysis, that something is a buzzword now, where again in order to analyze the data, you have to have economics behind it. See, the SBI group, the chief economist, again, that's the other job as such, or you talk about Bank of Baroda, in any of the area you talk about, you find people with economics background in the very senior position as such. So I'm sure when you see all this on your screen, and I'm sure you are thinking about fixing your photo here, and you know, if you study economics, you can be the one among here. So if that is your aspiration, that okay, let me be also head CRISIL one day, let me head SBI one day, let me be the chief economist of Bank of Baroda or any other banks one day, then possibly you should definitely think about joining the program of economics as such. You must have the people, those are actually on Instagram or TED Talks, and you know, all this, you have definitely heard about Sajid Chinmay, you know, famous TED Talk person as far as economics is concerned. He is in JP Morgan as of now. So you have a lot of areas which will open up as such. See, as of now, because I mentioned it earlier that you are in the age of 17 or 18 and you have to decide about what field you need to choose as such. Think about a particular field which gives you the stability, you know, and it gives you the safety too. I'm not talking about only safety and stability as the government job point of view, but this is a sector, this is one particular subject which gives you so many opportunities. Like say, for example, if automobile is down, if you're the automobile engineer, if you're the mechanical engineer, you know, like then the demand for them is bound to be low. So on the other side, your job opportunities will be low. But if you are with economics, you are with, you know, all other sectors. In any sector from automobile, you can definitely jump to the services. See, 10 years before, the life was only for engineers and medicine. The people with the higher scores, they used to go for science and medicine, I mean, especially medicine and engineering. And with the lower scores, they used to come for economics and, you know, all these subjects as such. But the time has completely changed. I repeat what I said, the time has completely changed. Thanks to the government, thanks to the policymakers, thanks to the world economy. Economics is something actually in limelight as of now, and the next 10 years or next at least 20-30 years, economics will definitely in demand. Engineering is saturated, and economics is something which definitely give you a lot of opportunities as such. So as of now, you are here possibly, and you're thinking about pursuing BSc Economics, you'll complete it by 2023, you'll enter into the professional world, you will have a couple of years of experience, and then you will reach this particular success. What success is, you know, heading a particular organization, or you are starting your own business and your turnover is more. That's something you are talking about as such. So what economics, in order to do this, do this level of economics, you need to study some of the subjects. You know, what are the subjects which we study under economics? So that's what I just mentioned earlier, that whatever you have studied in your secondary education, that's only a part of Indian economics you study. Or say, for example, you have studied some definition of economics, or only some sort of poverty and different states and all this. But here we study complete about taxation, how the state and central government, the tax, the GST, the people, those who have written about GST, or how to implement GST, all these are the policymakers are having economics background. So the core subjects which we always teach is derivatives and security analysis, and the actual science, which is actually science in the sense, when once you talk about insurance, you all know the insurance agents, right? They come to your house, they speak to your parent, they say that आपको इतना premium आने वाला है, like maybe आपका premium होगा 15,000. So how do they decide that 15,000 as the premium? Why not it is 14,000? Why not it is 16,000? They are the one, the economics background people decide this. So when once we make this strategy, the other people go and implement it. The marketing people, the sales people, they go and approach the other people in the world. But who will be working on the strategy part of it? They are actually the economists behind this. The country risk analysis, like say for example, the Bank of China, the Central Bank of China has purchased 1% of the shares in HSBC, a couple of days before, 2 days before, of course. Monday ka news hai, aaj Tuesday hai, kal ka news hai ye. So when once we are talking about the Chinese bank purchasing Indian bank share, so who will decide? Economists of those particular bank are the one they are deciding about all these things. So along with that, we also have a lot of certification programs where we are talking about business analytics. As I said, that's something which we always talk about. Policy analytics is always there. Data analytics with R and Stata. These are the softwares which are required, which you definitely need to know about analyzing the data, because when once we are talking about data, it's thousands of data you analyze. Say for example, you have heard something about the budget which government of India gives. So when once the budget is made, you imagine one Excel sheet in front of you, and you have thousands of Excel rows and columns in front of you, and you need to analyze that, which requires a lot of software support, and we teach all those things as such. Maybe machine learning and Python, which is definitely important for you to be in the limelight as far as decision making is considered. And these are all the subjects which we teach as a part of core economics as such. I really would like to share with all of you, of course this is me in between sitting. We are the official mentors for training, for training the top 5 people of India, top people of India, where those are the people, they represent India in the International Economics Olympiad. Like you all have heard about the Olympiads in maths or science, English. You have done all these things in your student, in your primary and the secondary education as such. Economics also is having the Olympiad as such. So we are the official mentors as far as the School of Economics is official mentor, and we represent India. And I'm the board member for International Economics Olympiad. So me in the sense, I'm talking about the school. I hold the dean position in the school. So whoever is the dean of the program will be the official mentor and will be representing India in the international world as such. So holding the flag of India in the international land, that was actually the greatest feeling which I still have in my mind. So all these are the students, those are trained by MIT, World Peace University, School of Economics. The faculty members have trained them, and we got gold and bronze medal also. Like all those information is available on our website. I suggest that you check our Facebook page as well as the website for all these details. So as I just mentioned, money is something which actually matters. I always say that money matters as such. So there are a lot of programs which I was talking about that. And one more thing I really would like to speak here is, the level of the interaction or the exposure which the students get at MIT World Peace University is completely a different world actually. He's Kailas Satyarthi, Nobel laureate. He was here to speak to my students. Anil Bokil, he is the man behind the demonetization. We all have heard about demonetization. He's the ambassador for Italy government. So we have all these people, all the details are available. We will be sharing all these details to you. He is the former UPSC chairman. He is my professor emeritus. He is the one, Professor Chandrasekhar Tilak is the one, he is the one who has set up the commodity exchange market in India. So all these are the people, those are having the professor emeritus status with us, and they come to us often. And see, at the age of 17, 18 or 19, you can interact with such great people and you can ask the questions directly, is something which is the value addition for all of you. I really would like to share with all of you that the internship, all students have received the internships, and internship as a research analyst, or in a core research area, core economics area. That's sorry, that's what is the internship which all my students have received. And 7 of our students have got the internship in IITs. That's something I really would like to mention, so that if you're really interested further in the academic research, we connect you to the IITs, or if you would like to pursue your job further, we connect you to the companies. You can see life at the campus. It's very, very happening as such. He is Mr. Rajdeep Sardesai. He was in, this is my campus, by the way. He was here and he conducted the talk show. Like these are all the students and the club activities. So everything is as such. We take the students to different study tours. That's what we call it as. We gave the exposure of income tax office, everything as such. So in order to apply for this particular program, you have to complete 12th as such, or any equivalent level, and we have one examination followed by the personal interview by the panel of experts, and then we have all those. We do have this scholarship for the meritorious students. All my students, any background, especially with science or commerce or arts, anybody can apply for this particular program. this program is more of a quantitative related thing as such. Like, see, all of us, we know that uh, when the price decreases, the demand increases, or you sell more. But all of us, we also should know that if I reduce the price by 2%, what will be the change in the demand, like 20% increase or 10% increase or something. No, this is what is BSc economics we always talk about. Many people, they come and ask me saying that, why can't I go for BA economics? Why should I do BSc economics? It's a very cautious call which we have, that we have to have BSc because it's more of application oriented, and it's not only the theory oriented. If you go to BA economics, it becomes very, very theoretical, where BSc is completely application oriented. And there are very few schools in India, those are talking about BSc economics as such. So we are happy to have a few more questions from you also. Over to you, Suchi. This is all from my side for the presentation.
Great, ma'am. Thank you for that exhaustive and detailed information about the very valuable economics degree that we give here at MIT World Peace University. Dear students, I hope
Yes.
you were able to grasp as much information from ma'am. And please go ahead and start typing in your questions in the Q&A section. I repeat, you can start asking any questions that you have about our topic today, as well as the economics degree at MIT WPU, in the Q&A section that you can see. Please avoid the chat section there. That is only for technical issues. So please keep your questions to the Q&A section, and we can start taking your questions live. We also have a team of panelists today who are here to answer your questions. So we'll be very happy to do that. As well as, I would like to remind you that we are currently open for admissions in our economics degree. So I urge you to check out admissions.mitwpu.edu.in and then make your choice and apply for our programs. Let's not keep those applications till the last minute, guys. We are already going through an uncertain situation. So let's be on the safer side and register right away and send in our admissions applications, since we are currently accepting the admissions applications. And I also want to let you know that you will get full support from us here at MIT. And we are working on making sure that the entire admissions process is streamlined during this uncertain time, during this pandemic, so that every student who has applied gets a fair chance for admission. We will be coming out soon on our website with policies that we are putting in place. And if not much changes with the situation that we have, we are even open to taking the GD and PI process online. But you will get information on this only if we receive your applications, and we will be so happy to help you with further information over phone calls and emails and all of that. One number you want to save is the WhatsApp number that we have right here. That's 9881492848. So after this live webinar session, if you have any further questions, our team of counselors are here to help you out. So do save that number. Do check out admissions.mitwpu.edu.in, and let's jump into the live Q&A section, guys.
Hi guys, this is Neeta. I look after admissions here at MIT World Peace University, and there are some questions that we can see already. We have Aman asking, as a science student in class 11th and 12th, would
Neeta,
it be...
ma'am, I'll be happy to take
the questions? Okay.
And you can give us the answers. Your inputs will be so valuable.
Sure. Okay.
Okay, so Aman asks us, as a science student in class 11 and 12, would it be easy for me to pursue economics?
Yeah, I'll take that question.
Sure.
We, in the batch of 60 students, almost 45 to 50 are from science background students for us. See, it's a usual tendency nowadays that after 10th, people usually feel like going to science, because they don't want to decide whether they want to go for commerce or arts or any stream, right? So on a safer side, people go for science till 12th, and after that they want to change the time, because at the age of 15 or 16, it's not the right time to decide also. By the time you come to 17 or 18 years of age, usually the child becomes more matured, and even the parents are also, like they always say that go for science till 12th and then you can choose. That is number one. Number two is actually the people with science background, they score better because maths is something which is required. I'm not talking about engineering maths and all. You don't have to be worried. The people those are not having mathematics background don't have to be worried as such, but we definitely require maths till 12th level. We teach, of course. It's not that we don't teach mathematics also. It's completely quantitative based. Just to add on with one example here, I just mentioned about cell phone in your hand. So if you have to fix the price of that particular cell phone, or say for example you would like to reduce the price of the cell phone, and if you reduce, before reduction of the price, you have to decide about what will be the change in your market condition. Am I making it clear, to the participant? So these are all quantitative things. मैंने इतना price कम किया तो मेरा sales कितना बढ़ेगा? This is something actually is the economics behind it. And इसके लिए हमें थोड़ा सा mathematics का जरूरत होता है. dy by dx differentiation, because you are the science student, I'm answering in that way. But we use differentiation technique for this. I'm saying it again. We don't require engineering mathematics, but we still definitely we require mathematics till 11th and 12th grade. Go to you, Suchi.
Great. Mrunmay Bapat asks, hello ma'am, thank you so much for the amazing presentation. I am currently a TYBA student. Can you please put some light on MSc Economics degree?
As far as MSc Economics is considered, we will be launching MSc Economics for the first time, of course. See, we start after this MIT World Peace University. We became the university 3 years before, and we started BSc Economics degree as such. We really wanted to do something in economics because given the background of MIT, we have 4 decades of legacy of education as such. And I'm very, very passionate about economics. I'm talking about myself. I'm very passionate about economics. So I really wanted to start something, do something with economics as such. I'm the corporate trainer, where sitting on the other side of the corporate, we always find that there is a dire need for the people with economics degree. And unfortunately, in India, economics is not taught in the way it has to be taught. Usually, like as I just mentioned earlier, in many of the BA programs, it's taught that the demand decreases if you increase the price, but they don't teach you how do I quantify this change in the price and demand. That's something which is actually a problem. The way we teach economics is a problem. It's not the economics as a subject is a problem as such. So in order to do something, we wanted to start our own university, and we were under the Pune University earlier. That was not giving us the chance to change the syllabus the way we want to change. So after becoming the university, we are at par with the Pune University. Of course, Pune University is the state one, and we are the private university. So we are directly under UGC, and we can decide on our syllabus. So the first thing we did was BSc Economics. And because now we are settled with BSc Economics, we would like to move to MSc Economics as such. MSc Economics, the focus will be more or less advanced. I spoke about the thing as such. Now, say for example, the focus is on econometrics here, there it will be advanced econometrics. If the focus is on international trade here, there it will be applied international trade, or applied microeconomics, applied macroeconomics. So it is definitely much more higher than what we teach in BSc Economics. I suggest you can also take feedback from my BSc students as of now. How are we teaching, how we have placed them, and the way mathematics, what level mathematics we use, all these things. And I suggest that you go ahead in filling the form, and further information, definitely you can talk to any of our faculty members, and you can take it further as such. I suggest Professor Kaustubh, do you really would like to add anything? He's a professor of international trade with MIT World Peace University. Professor Kaustubh, you would like to add anything to this?
Yes, certainly I would like to add to this is that first of all, we have to understand that BSc and MSc, I would like to talk about both the courses, BSc as well as MSc. BSc and MSc, they are the professional courses in economics, number one. Professional, it connotes that it has a direct applicability in corporate world as well as government in policy making. And that is why when it comes to the applicability, we do emphasize the use of mathematics and statistics as per the requirement of the subject. And I would like to tell you that we provide a lot of handholding for the freshers, and that is why even if a student does not have any background in mathematics as such, he need not to be apprehensive about the use of mathematics, because we have expert trainers for mathematics, and that our experience so far is very good, and they are catching up very well. In fact, one of our students, she has actually published the paper. If the published a paper in economics, the title of the subject is forecasting the demand for money. She did not have a background in mathematics, but now she has catched up the subject very well, and now she is progressing in her
Thank
career very well.
Thank you, Professor. Yeah, thank you, Professor Kausu, for that addition of the information as such. So what I wanted to convey here is, as far as MSc is considered, more focus will be given on the dissertation and the paper presentations and all these things. The policy analytics, all these will be the more focus along with the advanced subject as such. Over to Suchi. I'll request Professor Kausu to share his screen. I'm stopping the screen here.
Yeah, sure.
All right, guys. So while we are going to continue taking your live questions, what you will see in your screen now is a Word document that we framed especially for your use, where we have answered the most commonly questions asked by students on this topic. So sir will be just sharing that on the screen, and you can also read some of those questions and know more information in detail. Moving on to our next question for the day. What is the difference between BSc in statistics and BSc in economics?
Should I take that?
Sure, ma'am.
Yeah. As far as BSc statistics is considered, statistics is a number where we are talking about, say, for example, average gross domestic production. I'll give the example where statistics and economics both are used. That's the reason I'm talking about the production. Entire, say, for example, पूरा country में automobile का production कितना हो चुका है. So एक number आ जाते हैं, उसका average आप निकालते हो, and then you find out different statistical treatments to that, like उसका relationship क्या है, all those things जो है. But economics is something which also talks about automobile production क्यों कम हो गया है यहाँ पे, ज़्यादा कैसे करना पड़ेगा हमें, and ये data use करते हैं, like in the sense economics is the decision making science where statistics is a tool for economists. सब कुछ भी पॉलिसी मेकिंग के लिए आप जब जाते हो तो वो पॉलिसी के लिए जो डेटा जो लगता है वो स्टैटिस्टिशियंस डेटा कलेक्ट करके वो एनालाइज करके देते हैं. इट्स मोर ऑफ अ नंबर बेस्ड एंड इकोनॉमिक्स इज मोर ऑफ डिसीजन मेकिंग साइंस. सो आपको अगर डिसीजन लेना है, आज का मैंने एग्जांपल दिया, कोविड का एग्जांपल दिया आपको कि आज हमने लॉकडाउन एक्सटेंड करने का हमने जो डिसीजन लिया है वो एक्सटेंड करना है, वो डिसीजन इकोनॉमिक्स लेते हैं. बट वो लॉकडाउन किया तो कितना आउटपुट कम होता है, वो जो स्टैटिस्टिक्स जो नंबर जो होता है वो स्टैटिस्टिशियंस करते हैं. बट इकोनॉमिक्स अगर आपको पता है तो आप दोनों कर सकते हो. यू कैन डू स्टैटिस्टिकल आउटपुट भी आपको पता चलेगा एंड डिसीजन मेकिंग भी आता है. इफ यू डू स्टैटिस्टिक्स यू विल नो ओनली द नंबर्स. So I always feel that economics is one way up than that of statistics as such. Professor Anuradha or Professor Kaustubh or anybody else, you would like to, if you want to add anything further to this, over to you.
Yeah, I would like to add something to this. Okay. Now, so far.
Yeah, very much in brief, sir. Yeah.
Yeah. So far, the BSc statistics is concerned, the exposure to the statistician is limited in terms of analysis of numbers only, whereas exposure to the economist is very wide one, because economists actually use the statistical analysis in order to explain the economic phenomena. I would like to use a very small metaphor, is that our consumption is governed by our income. So if income increases, consumption increases, income drops, consumption also drops. If you take up this statistically, you will see a single number of correlation. Then the job of economics comes here. He will explain why there is what is a connection and how consumption and income, they are connected with each other. So that causality, that explanation of that causal relationship is actually the job of economics, and that is why the demand for economists is very wider one.
Okay, that's great. So over to you, Suchi.
Great. We have another question. What are the placement opportunities after BSc Economics at MIT WPU?
Professor Kaustubh, you start with that, please.
Yeah. So far placement opportunities are concerned, it offers a very wide opportunities for placement at a very wide spectrum, including government, NGOs, business houses, and corporate houses. Now, so far our internship, as Haridas Madam mentioned, we got an internship at very core economics profile. The students started with the research profile, and now they will be heading towards the corporate houses and government houses also. I would like to add one thing, as Haridas Madam mentioned, that UPSC aspirant, they have very high percentage when it comes to economics. Besides that, you also have IAS option, Indian Economic Services, which also requires a rigorous knowledge. In fact, a postgraduate degree in economics, which is a very rewarding career in these uncertain times where demand for economics is very high. So
Okay.
over to you, madam.
I think Madam Neeta, do you want to add anything into that?
Yes, I'd like to add in.
Yeah.
We have at our university, MIT World Peace University in Kothrood, we really believe that the whole. It's not just about learning in the classroom. We actually believe it's much more than that. So taking you to really what Benjamin Franklin once said: "Tell me and I forget, teach me and I remember, involve me and I learn." So in terms of involvement, what we've got is a central team called Center of Industry Academia Partnerships. And for placements, this team looks after internships, placements, along with the dean and the faculty members, of course, looks after the Alumni Connect and the industry collaborations. So there's a team of almost 30 odd people in the university who's just going out to the market. Their job is not to be seen actually in the university and to be out in industry, connecting with newer companies every day. So while we've already had very good statistics for internships in our economics programs at the moment, we are every day reaching out to new companies. This enables the faculty, the deans, to have guest lectures from alumni and from industry experts, webinars from corporate leaders, and of course, we have young entrepreneurs coming in telling us about their success stories also. There are joint certificate programs with industry. There are projects which are undertaken, sometimes pretty much live ones. And even students assist. There are student committees formed who help with placements, who help in reaching out to industry as well. So we actually have a whole team, which has also resulted, concrete results I can talk about. Tata Technologies has set up in collaboration with MIT. They've put in crores, we've put in crores for a huge setup, a manufacturing lab and a computer lab, which multiple streams are using. So that's come out of the industry collaborations that we have, and there are many more like that. So in terms of support for internships and placements, you get 100% support from us at the university.
I just want to add 30 seconds further to this.
Yeah.
As far as MIT, our university is considered, we don't have to be worried much about the placements at all, because as far as engineering and the other management is considered, usually like companies, they stand in queue with us. So even though economics is comparing to the other engineering and all, we are new programs, we are 3-year-old programs, but all my students, those are in the 3rd year, they all have received good internships, and placement is, of course, now we'll be doing it. So but we already have so many companies asking us to send the students as such, and we, as just Madam Neeta explained, we have good industry connect. So establishing connect is not a problem. On the other side, I always say this to the students in all my talks. I always say that calling the company is definitely that's something we do, and our students have to be good enough in getting selected, and the academic process which you have established in MIT World Peace University helps you to get selected as such. Just imagine the students of the undergraduation, बाकी किधर भी college में नहीं होता, excluding IITs, कि paper presentation करके वो बाहर paper present करते हैं, like even national and the international level. और रशिया में जाके वो लोग वहाँ पे इंडिया का they represent India in the international level. Usually this doesn't happen at the undergraduation level, which is happening with us, right? So we are very happy to share all these things with you. Over to you, Suchi.
Great. All right, students, keep tuning in and sending in your questions in the Q&A section. We are sure to take your question if time permits us today, as we are trying to do now. And all right, and also to let you know that we are currently open to all admissions applications for the esteemed economics degree at MIT World Peace University. So guys, do go to admissions.mitwpu.edu.in and select the program of your choice and send in your applications so that we can take forward the communication with you as to the rest of the process. Of course, we don't want to keep this till the last minute, given the times that we are in. Policies are changing, and we are working on that relentlessly so that we can completely support you in your admissions process. And you will be getting more information on it in the next few days. So keep checking our website. Do go to the link that I mentioned. And now we'll be taking a few more questions. I just completed my 12th degree. How much percentage am I required to get admission in MIT for the economics degree?
As far as percentage is considered, any student, any candidates above 50% in 12th. 12th, again, any stream, science, maths, science, or arts or commerce, any background is okay. With and without mathematics is absolutely okay. They can apply for the program. We do conduct our entrance examination. We have our own entrance examination where I'm just going to that particular screen so that people can understand. We have our own computer-based, of course, online examination where we have the general knowledge and the aptitude. Now it's a very simple examination we have, which is followed by the personal interview as such. In case of personal interview, we would like to find out that how passionate the candidate is about studying economics and how he or she would like to make the career in the field of economics. So that's something we really would like to check, and we make the merit list based on both the scores. Like as I said, it's entrance examination of 50% we consider and interview 50% we consider, and then we make the merit list. Whoever is topping in the merit list, we usually give the admission for them. So my answer to this was your 12th percentage definitely doesn't matter much. Please do apply. But yes, your entrance examination and your PI scores matter for us. This is how any admission usually happens. Even in the IITs also, they consider the, IIT, JEE, all these are the marks. They don't consider the 12th marks. In case if there is any tie and all, then 12th marks is considered. So that's usually the admission happens after your 12th. Over to Madam Neeta, if you want to add anything.
Thank you, Dr. Haridas. I think you've pretty much covered everything. I will give it back to Suchi for the next question.
All right. So we have Pranav Deshpande here with us, and he's asking us, as economics does not really belong to a science background, does a BSc in economics make us perfectly employable?
Repeat the question again. I'm sorry.
So, ma'am, Pranav asks us, as economics is not part of a science field or background, does it really make sense for a student to pursue a BSc in economics, and does it make them perfectly employable, say, versus a BA in economics?
Yes. No, I understood now. I don't know who said or who taught in both the way that economics is not a science. Of course, if you really study, the history of economics, and if you study all those history of economic thoughts and all, there's an open school of thought that whether it's economics is a science or economics is arts. But the people say that economics is a normative science. That's what is the first chapter of economics which we teach on the other side. So that's definitely is a science. I don't agree with this thing saying that it's a arts related subject as such. On the other hand, I was mentioning it earlier, saying that economics is the mother of all subjects. On the other hand, you talk about any subject, is a mother of all subjects. So BSc will definitely give you more advantage in terms of the corporate, because like if you see any Western world, they don't have much of the BA program at all. You see, they have even MSc in maybe public policy. They have MSc in sociology, say for example, social aspects. So usually all the Western world, they are more employable because of the degree they have. So this science degree will definitely add a lot of value as far as the corporates are considered. And that is one of the reasons why we started BSc Economics 3 years before. And when we were under the Pune University, we didn't even start BA Economics, because I know that BA Economics is, we will not be in a position to make the students employable with BA degree, but BSc degree, I'm quite confident that I can make my students very much employable. Professor Kaustav, you would like to add anything, or Professor Anuradha?
Yeah, certainly. I would like to add. Let me tell you that
Yeah.
usually what happens whenever we call any subject as a science, the word itself connect the measurability of the theorems or the results or the statements of that subject. So when we say that economics is the science, we say that theorems of economics or the propositions in economics, they are quite measurable, they are quantifiable. That is what Haridas madam already explained in her address. So when we say that when prices increases, demand decreases, but we can quantify it when we say that economics is a science, we can prove that, we can quantify that whenever demand increases, to what extent, whenever price increases, to what extent demand will decrease. And that is why BSc economics is absolutely appropriate. And on the other side, it has got more currency in a corporate world. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Okay, we are going to shift gears and take the next few questions ahead. We have a student asking us, what will be the paper pattern for the entrance examination of BSc Economics?
That's perfectly. I also thought of possibly people will ask this question. They can make it on the screen. I suppose all of them can see my screen. As for the entrance examination considered, as I said, it's online examination which we have, and it's not online because we are in this situation this time. Even otherwise, also ours was always the online examination. We have moved ahead comparing to the other schools as such. It's general knowledge, it's basic maths, then logical reasoning, we have computer skills, and it's basic English. These are 5 different areas we cover, and even the weightage further, like 25%, 20%, logical reasoning for 20%, that's also given here on the screen. And I mentioned it earlier that we have interview again, 50% as such. In the interview, usually we would like to test how passionate the student is about pursuing economics further, like, because we don't want, the person, like, may economics karo or, engineering karo, like, wo nahi hona chahiye. You should be passionate enough, because once you have come to a particular program, it's your commitment. And we really would like to have the students, those are committed for a particular cause. And we can definitely change or mold the students in the way where he or she would like to do in the future. See, this is our commitment to your parents. This is our commitment to the outside world, saying that if you give your hand to us, we will hold your hand. And hand holding is the job of any university. As a mother, as a teacher, it's my duty to hand hold you. So once I have given this promise to you, we really would like to take that ahead. And I always say this to all the parents also, saying that children are the most most costliest asset which each parent has. Like, my son is the most costliest for me, right? So once we know that the life of somebody is given to us, we are there to take care as such. So we really would like to know the passion, as I said, how committed you are for the program. And this entrance examination talks about how committed you are for the program, and the basic level of your quantitative skills and maths and logical reasoning, computer skills, all those things. So that's how we make the final merit list. And once we give the merit list, of course, as I mentioned it earlier, that we also have the scholarships for the meritorious students. For 5% of our batch, we have 100%. I repeat what I said: 100% of our tuition fees. If you see here in category 1, 100% tuition fee waiver for all 3 years. So that is for the meritorious students. But even for the other people also, those are having 95, 93, above 90, 85 and all, we have some sort of scholarships. So out of my batch of 60 last time, 29 of them, they have got this scholarship last time. I mean they were in one or the other of these categories. So you have good chance of getting the scholarships too. Go to any other counselors if they would like to add anything on this. Madam Neeta and your team.
I think you covered the scholarship bit quite well. Just remember that in the 100% category scholarships and the others as well, the 100% category scholarships for all years, but there are terms and conditions apply. You have to maintain your attendance and your scores, etc. Yeah. Okay.
I'm sure they will definitely maintain that, because if they're committed for the program, they will definitely do that. They should do that.
Absolutely. And I think, ma'am, with you and Kaushab sir and Radha ma'am and all won't, there's no doubt about commitment there.
Yeah, thank you. We can
Brilliant.
go to the next question.
So students, I'm going to ask you to keep sending in your questions. We are in the last segment of our webinar. So we want to take as many questions as possible today. So please go ahead and type in your questions in the Q&A section, and we'll be sure to get to it. Okay, so from Pranav again, we have a question, which is if the economics degree is profitable for entrepreneurship.
Yeah, definitely. As the entrepreneur, we are the one to make the complete business plan. So what this business plan talks about, like what to produce and how to produce. Production is, what you want to start up. Your startups, like which product you need to start, what is the market demand for that, how will you source the funds, venture capital. All these are the words, and they are the day-to-day life for us. On the other side, I'm on the board of many companies where we do the business plan for them. I also work on couple of companies, on the board of couple of companies, where if the company would like to expand their business to some other countries. Say, for example, one of the recent project I handled, he's the 5th richest in Dubai. He would like to come and invest in India. So we made a project saying that in which state of India he has to put his own firm. So all these are the decisions, which is entrepreneurship decisions, which is made basically, or maybe around 80% with economics. Of course, to some extent, you also have to have the knowledge of marketing, you have to have the knowledge of finance, you have to have the knowledge of human resource management and all, which is again part of the syllabus which we have, like strategic management, which I'm talking about. How do you decide? That's a part of economics. We teach economics as well as we teach strategy. Or say, for example, you would like to minimize the cost of your business. Maybe given the condition now, the demand is less in the market. So how do you survive is only by reduction of the cost. So this cost minimization techniques, we are talking about operation research, we are talking about game theory. Like all these are a part of the syllabus. So you will be far better off if you do economics and if you want to do your business. Madam Neeta, if you would like to add anything here.
So as university, we support entrepreneurs a lot. We even have an incubation center, and a lot of research support is also given. And I can tell you personally, I know of an entrepreneur who's in 2nd year in engineering, and he's actually set up something on the 3D printing side. And it's a very simple thing. He's actually helping, and he's earning money every month already within the 3 months of starting off. He's making the parts, etc., for other students in the university for their projects. So, entrepreneurs can start off very small. And there are many entrepreneurs who are our alumni and are actually now coming back to hire from us, which is a very proud moment for us, really.
Yeah, even 2nd year students of economics, BSc economics also, 2 of them, they are doing their own business. Now they have almost come to the end of their project planning now, and they were about to launch the product in the market. So they are also in the 2nd year. And as just Madam mentioned, we do have the incubation center where we support all the ideas from the students as such. Yeah. Madam Anuradha, you would like to add anything?
Yes, as a part, you asked about entrepreneurship. We have a course called as entrepreneurship development, in where we actually handhold students and let them interact with the industry experts, the venture capitalists, and the startup people who are also a part of our alumni and also from the industry, where they can actually get a hand. They can understand and listen from the horse's mouth as to how to start a business and all.
Yes.
And also as part of our research projects that we undertake in every trimester, we have students taking up business plans and, taking it from stage 1 to stage 2. And eventually, some of them who actually come from a business family, they have made their strategic plan for their own business. So definitely economics gives you more scope in terms of starting a business is what I would like to say.
Yeah. Over to Madam Sachin. Yeah.
Great, superb. Ma'am, do you have any tips for students who want to prep for our entrance exam? What kind of books should they be reading, or just general tips that they can have to prepare for our entrance exam?
Yeah, I'll leave this question to Professor Kaustubh and I'll add it after
Sure.
his words.
Sure.
Yeah. Now I'll take up one by one component. Point number one is basic mathematics. Basic mathematics is only up to your 10th level. So brush up the mathematics, whatever you have done so far. Second component is general awareness, which is designed to check how alert you are about your surroundings. So be alert in your day-to-day operations, how and check out daily newspapers and magazines, etc. Third is a logical reasoning part where the books are available in the market. The difficulty level is calibrated up to the 12th standard level, so you can practice them from the textbook, standard textbook available in the market. Example is R.S. Agarwal, which is also available for basic mathematics. Computer skills, the basic computer skills which are there, the benchmark level is MSCIT textbook, so you can refer to their course curricula and you can practice your skills. And basic English, again, the level is cap is 10th standard, so up to 10th standard grammar you have to check it.
Yeah, just to add here, of course, all the details have been covered as such. But I suggest that if you're an average student, definitely you can make it out. You know, these are not difficult also at the same time. But as I said, we really would like to have the students with those are having the aptitude or analytical skills, and those are good in focusing on their own life. That's what it actually is a test for examination as such. I don't think if you are in any of the board, all these are already covered. You don't have to do any special studies for that, but definitely if you have any special studies and all, that will give you much more advantage in terms of getting the scholarships and all these things. You should try for that, definitely. That's what is from my side, Madam Suchi.
On a lighter note, madam, if may I add,
Yeah.
as I always say in my class, that common sense is always required to crack such examinations. So do not forget your common sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that will help you a lot. Thank you.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah. Over to Madam Suchi.
Okay, great. All right. So I think we have covered lots of questions for today. I hope that was very, very helpful for you guys. Once again, we are accepting admissions. So please go on to admissions.mitwpu.edu.in and go ahead and choose your program of choice and send in your applications, guys. Let's not wait for the last minute to do this. It will help you secure more detailed information as to how the rest of the admissions process will go. We are relentlessly working to make this process as seamless and effortless for you. So please go ahead and send your applications for our revered economics degree. And also to let you know, guys, all of this exhaustive information that was shared with you in today's webinar will be available on our official YouTube channel. So in a couple of days' time, in 2-3 days' time, we are going to upload this entire webinar on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe the MIT World Peace University official channel on YouTube and look out for this webinar on YouTube. Come back to us in 2-3 days' time. If you subscribe, you'll get a bell notification once we put on the video out. So I ask you to keep an eye out for that. With that, we come to the end of today's webinar. Thank you all so much again for joining in for today's session. I hope you liked it. I know most of you have answered the poll and we look forward to your feedback today. Thank you, everyone, and please stay safe and stay at home. Thank you.